Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody. We have a pretty cool podcast for you today. Mm-hmm. We've been really enjoying these, these group conversations.
Yeah.
You know, at least I have. I'm not going to speak for you.
I've been hating them, honestly.
Fools.
I love it because we're connecting with people, and it's really special to me.
This one felt really
fun.
special to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what was it, episode 6, I believe, our episode was based around a story that somebody submitted to us on Instagram, and we got into talking with them a bit more, and I just put it out there like, hey, it would be really awesome to actually have you on the podcast with your fiance,
who she mentioned in the
story, exactly, and they were down. Mm-hmm. So,
and today we met Bobdogg.
Bobdogg and
biggest
Emma.
treat of my life.
Yeah. So Emma was the one who initially reached out to us and gave us a great short story about her life, and I don't know. I just wanted to dig into that a little bit more and talk about what it was like opening up about this fetish to her fiance, because she did mention that she had a poor experience with the past boyfriend. That kind of made it not very difficult, but it definitely added some sort of reluctance to tell future boyfriends. But it sounded like things worked out for her in the future with different partners, and her fiance has been very accepting. But
and so supportive, and they're supportive of each other. And it was really nice to listen to them. Yeah.
So without further ado, here is our conversation with Emma and Bobdogg.
I love it.
Okay, please tell me your name and just tell me a little bit about yourself so we know a little bit about who you are.
So my name is Emma on this podcast, and I'm from Europe. I'm 24. Also, you can hear that I'm a woman. I also identify as a woman. I don't know if it's important for anyone, but yeah.
And did you want to give any detail about what you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm in research.
Okay.
Let that be enough.
Okay. All right. Totally fine. So Emma, how long have you been a part of the belly button community?
I don't know how much I'm part of the community, actually. I've been looking at content for around 15 years, I think.
Wow. Okay. That's a while.
But I have only a couple of pictures on Instagram, but really I think 3. So that's not much. Not much.
When did you start posting content on Instagram?
This year. And I honestly don't really want to go on sharing content.
Sure. So what made you post in the first place?
The first one is a picture of my belly button where it's been played with, but it's kind of a normal picture. Then there's an outie picture, and there's a third one. I just wanted to have something on my Instagram so people are not seeing an empty Instagram page.
Sure.
But I'm not too enthusiastic about sharing content. And also, there have been a lot of people who try to DM me, and I tried to reply. I just realized that it's really not my thing. You're the only person that I've talked to.
I feel honored.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because I don't want to talk to anyone about belly buttons in a porn way, and most people would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Um, what made you submit your story to us?
Actually, I was just listening to all of your podcasts like in one day,
Oh my
I
God.
think.
That's a lot. Thank you.
I was traveling and yeah, I was listening to the podcasts like all in one. And yeah, it was a really good feeling. I was very happy to hear people talking about the fetish so openly. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of share with you guys that I have gone through something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically that's it.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Where do I start?
I mean, start back as early as you can. Like, start from the beginning. How did this all begin for you?
Oh my goodness, I think it started like this fetish is one of my earliest memories in life, I think.
Really?
Of course, at the moment, I had no idea about the existence of a fetish, but yeah, like I would play with my cousins, and I really remember that with one of my cousins, we would once we kind of played like surgery, so he was the doctor and I was the patient,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that he would want to like make a surgery on me, but I was super afraid, but I guess I was kind of excited too. But eventually we didn't even do anything, but I really remember this episode. And later I played also with another cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and like we were in a garden, and she
And
was
and and
like,
and this is like what age?
oh, I was like 3
Oh my
or
gosh.
or
Okay.
even less,
Wow.
maybe even less. I don't know. Like I was really really small,
Yeah.
and yeah, like I think she was rubbing some flowers on my belly button, and
Okay.
then my aunt came and said that don't do this, it will get infected. And yeah, and yeah, this is my first memory of anything belly button related thing. And yeah, I remember that it was like an ongoing theme in my mind all through my childhood. I think I even had an imaginary friend who would always get abdominal surgeries. That's the weirdest stuff. But I didn't tell anyone. So I kind of felt that it's weird, but it happened. Or
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
happened in my mind.
So, wow, that okay, so that goes back a really long time for
Yeah,
you. So,
it was very long time ago.
yeah, and for me it was sort of the same thing where it's some of my earliest memories too. Like I remember being
Really.
3 or 4, being very interested in belly buttons. And
Hmm.
I don't know how it started. And we listened to a portion of the podcast that you sent us about fetishes, and how they develop. And I mean, we'll talk about that later, but it was very intriguing, and it made me think like, okay, how did I experience belly buttons but also simultaneously get rewarded in some way? Like I can't really identify how it started for me, but I just remember it always being there.
Do you feel like you have a moment like that, like for yourself, like a moment where like you felt rewarded for it and that kind of like ignited your fetish?
I would guess that this one could be the I cannot remember the reward. I guess I like the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I was playing with my female cousin, like the flower stuff, yeah, probably that could be that point. And also, then my aunt came and she said that don't do it. It was immediately something forbidden, so it could become exciting.
Interesting. Oh, that's a good way to put it. I wonder if that's what it was like for me. I really need to think about that. My memory from way back when isn't like too great. Like, but so tell me about how the fetish sort of like evolved through your life. Like, when did it? I guess around what time did it start becoming like sexual for you?
Actually, I think it has always been kind of like,
Yeah.
but I think I only realized that it was sexual when I started dating my first boyfriend.
And
And
how long? Like, what year was that? Would you say?
I think at that point I was already 17 when I realized that it's actually a sexual thing.
But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about those first experiences with him when you finally realized that?
Yeah, actually, I would sometimes watch videos like about belly button piercings, and like before 2010 or around the time, YouTube wasn't restricted at all, so you could go anywhere. There wasn't like age restricted videos, and I very soon bumped into some serious fetish videos, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, of course they were like super exciting, but I also felt like super ashamed. So I didn't used to watch them a lot, but the ones that I did watch are like like very well written in my memory. I can recall like almost every second of them. That's crazy. And I think I only saw them once.
Do you remember in particular, like, can you describe them like to anybody who might have seen them before?
I think the first like very weird video was when I saw someone uh, using a nipple pump on a belly button. I think that was the first.
Oh, like a syringe?
No, it was a nipple pump, I think.
Oh, a nipple pump. Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Got it. Oh, was it one of the Audi lover videos?
I don't know. It was.
Are you
I think
familiar
it
with
was.
those?
Yeah, of course, but no, I don't think so. But it was very early on. Like I would say, 2007, 8,
Okay.
something like that.
Because whenever I think of like a nipple pump video, because it looks like a funny like bike horn, right? Like it
Yeah,
has like a
yeah,
squeezable top and like a little kind of like trumpet shaped horn, plastic part.
yeah.
And yeah, I remember on the Audi lover videos, like he used them on somebody on the beach, I think. And
Really, it could
yeah.
be. Yeah,
Was that the
it
guy who
could
would go
be.
in public?
That was the guy who would play with people with Audis in public, and it was
Yeah, actually, I think it was in public, so maybe it wasn't.
yeah,
That's
But
which
I,
which added which added a whole another level of excitement to the video to me, I was like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
other people can see this."
yeah.
Have you ever experienced like outside play? Like, have you ever like played with yours in public?
Yeah, I can later return to that, but I go on with
Yeah, yeah, keep
the.
going.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure, of
sorry.
course.
Yeah, because I had to start with this because yeah, when I started getting like sexual with my first boyfriend,
Mhm.
like I had my first orgasms, and I really remember the third one because I remember that one like frame from a video that I had seen before came into my mind, and I immediately had that orgasm. So that was the moment when I realized that it's a sexual thing.
Can you
I'm pretty
recall
sure.
the image that you saw?
It was also some autist stuff.
So, would you say that that is the primary like niche part of the belly button fetish that you like the most, which is like outie play?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure about, like in my fantasies yet, but I'm not sure about the actual world. Like, I think maybe in real life, I often prefer less impact stuff.
You were saying that your belly button fetish tends to be on the masochistic side. Can you go into a little more detail on that? Like, what were your first experiences with pain in that way, and realizing that you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I think the videos, the videos were the cause that I started thinking about it. No, that's not true. I think probably it's the piercing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thought of a piercing, a belly button piercing.
And wait, do you have yours pierced?
No,
Oh, okay.
not yet. I would love to try it once, but I haven't got the courage.
So you saw piercing videos, and
Yeah,
that's what kind of like sparked this interest, and then that must have translated into real life. No, like did you start
probably.
trying more painful like belly button play?
Yeah, actually, I was experiencing a lot with it, like around, in the middle of my teenage years.
What would you do?
I would play with candles, some light needle stuff, also like the syringe.
Like for suction, you mean?
Yeah,
What was that experience like for the first time?
weird. It hurt, but also quite exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be like with everybody that I've talked to who has used like an extractor for the first time or used some type of suction tool for the first time on their belly button. It's like it's pleasurable, but it's also like a feeling that you've never felt before. It is feel a little weird at first.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like it feels a little dangerous.
Yeah.
Also, true.
So once you started getting into play, like, I mean, did you ever like damage your belly button like really bad? Like, was there ever a time where you needed like a while to heal back up before you played with it again?
Yeah, actually, it happened once. Like, I think one of my first candle wax plays wasn't a success, or it was, but it was too much.
Really?
It was too hot. So yeah, it took a while to heal.
Yeah, it's funny because that's exactly what happened to Zoe when we tried wax for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and we bought the wax that was specifically like a safer like body wax that you use, like you get it at like a sex store.
And I still scarred myself.
And she still has a huge scar from it. Like she got a huge blister.
It's not huge.
I mean, but she
It's
also
noticeable.
held the candle like just millimeters from her belly button. Like she didn't notice how close she was getting the fire to her skin.
Because I've never done anything with wax before, so it was all new.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you heal up soon.
Oh no, this was months ago. This was maybe 5 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scar looks like a scar. Like it looks like I had a belly button piercing and I took it out.
Yeah.
Like that's what it looks like. And so it's kind of cool because I look like I had my belly button pierced, but I haven't.
So you said that it started becoming you started getting into more painful play like in the middle of your teenage years.
Yeah.
So by the time you got your first boyfriend at 17, how did you like reveal that all to him, or did you not like tell him everything?
Oh, I do not remember exactly, but I think it was like already like 2 years into our relationship,
Oh my gosh.
because it took a while for me to realize and after accept it for myself. Yeah, and I was also kind of afraid that he wouldn't like it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't.
Oh, really? He didn't?
Like not at all.
Oh.
I once told him that I have this fetish, and I think he asked me what kind of play you can do, and I said examples, and he was like, I think he was kind of disgusted and didn't really say anything, and we didn't ever return to this topic.
Oh.
Man, that's unfortunate. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I've experienced like rejection to the fetish, like to my face like that. But in my head, I imagine that it's gonna go that direction, so I just don't tell them at all. You know,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I've, you know, with all the girlfriends that I've had like through the years, like I've probably told like three of them or four of them,
Mm.
and but I like I knew before the words ever left my mouth that they wouldn't judge me for it,
Mm-hmm.
even though it still felt like a little bit risky. um yeah, I avoided telling the ones that I just felt like would not be cool with it. I've been very, very selective over the years, for sure.
Yeah, you had a good radar.
Did you
radar.
feel like you had to abandon the fetish once he was disgusted with it for the rest of your relationship? Did you try to just like put it away? Or would you try to like sneak like private stuff with yourself?
Yeah, I would. I used to like watch porn, like belly button porn
Hmm.
myself. Maybe I also played, but like with my own belly button, but not very often, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, were there ever times where you played with your belly button so much that it like looks really red, or that you've definitely played with it and done something to it, and your belly button has to be seen by either your significant other that doesn't know about your fetish, or a friend or something? Like, do you have an experience like that?
Yeah, it happened once with, yeah, still with my first boyfriend.
Oh yeah, did they
And
notice it?
yeah, and he said that, oh, you have a wound in your belly button. And I said, yeah, I know. And that was it.
And was this before you tried to tell him?
Yeah, it was before, I think.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, because there are times, um, like with my last girlfriend, I told her about my fetish, and a lot of people already know by listening to the podcast, like that we didn't really dive into it too much, and because it kind of felt, I kind of felt like I needed to suppress it all. There were these times where I would play with it really hard for like just a day. Like I would, pull it out, I would tie it out, I would clamp it, I would just do like this crazy like masochistic stuff to it, minus like I wouldn't go as far as like needles or anything, but I would try to like, the pain felt good, but obviously it leaves your belly button like super red and when you're shirtless it's like this immediate like large red dot in the middle of your body, so there were so many times where I would take off my shirt, where I would like turn my body away from her so she wouldn't see, or things like that. Like there were plenty of instances where I'd have to keep it hidden,
Mm.
but luckily she never noticed.
Yeah, I see. I think it has only happened to me once.
So tell us a little bit about uh, what you do. Like, obviously, you don't need to go into super private details, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more on when you sent in your story. You specifically mentioned about having like a more masochistic leaning belly button fetish, and how it does not line up with like the type of person that you are. Can you like elaborate on that a little?
I don't think it's specifically the masochism part of it. It's more like having a weird fetish.
Okay.
So I was like trying to be as normal as I could be, as good as I could be, and in the background, or in yeah, like
And in private, you
within
had this.
myself, there was this part
Yeah.
which was super non-conformative, or non-conforming. I don't know what's the word is.
Yeah.
And yeah, like super weird.
So do you still? This is how many people have you told about this, by the way?
I think 4 in total, plus you guys.
Okay. Out of those 4, you haven't. I mean, have you talked about them at length with anybody the way you're talking to us about it?
Yeah, going into details, like with a lot of details, I think only with my fiance.
Mm-hmm.
But my previous 2 boyfriends also knew like a part of it.
Yeah. In the last podcast where we talked about your story, it sounded like you didn't know how to divulge like your deepest like fantasies
to him, but you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you were nervous because of past experiences that you couldn't like fully open up to him, that it would ruin your relationship.
Yeah, and then you you tell me on Instagram before we released the episode
That you did.
that you did. So tell us how it went and what I mean, I am interested. I'm sure she's interested as well.
Yeah.
Like in hearing about the fantasy, like what did it entail?
Yeah.
Why was it so nerve wracking for you? Like what made it feel like beyond like your average mild like belly button play? And how did he take it?
Actually, I don't really know why I didn't talk more about the details before, because honestly, I think we have a very, very good communication
Mm-hmm.
in general. So,
Well, I mean, you were obviously
it,
scarred. You were obviously scarred by that first boyfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a
yeah, of course.
pretty
Of
traumatic
course,
experience.
that was probably one of the causes why I didn't go into further details before. But also, I just didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
having the podcast and talking to you guys and thinking about these all these things kind of gave me the final push, I think.
Sure.
So it's more like I don't know what's the word for it. When
What a boost of confidence?
No, I'm not talking about it, but like an excuse. Yeah, an excuse. I
Got
would
it.
say. Yeah,
So how did it go when you brought it up to him?
pretty good.
That's good.
Actually, I didn't really expect otherwise.
That's good.
So it's really kind of unexplainable why I didn't talk to him about it before.
No, I mean it makes sense, you know, like why you'd be nervous. You know, it's a big part of your, you know, of not your life. Well, kinda, yeah. And you want to feel accepted, and you know, it's scary, especially with the past experiences that you had. But he sounds really nice, and I'm glad he accepted it, and I'm glad it's cool.
Yeah, actually, we have some history with belly button play together, and he has certainly realized that I like pain. So, and actually, he kind of also enjoys it a lot.
Oh,
So,
good.
so it's all good.
That's good. I'm so glad. I was so worried when I read your story. I was like, oh my God. I was like wondering like what was gonna happen, like what you were gonna say. So I'm glad it worked out.
And yeah, I went into details in our conversation, like just after I talked to you guys, where we talked about like more ideas to do, like more of my fantasies, and also like the weirder ones, like the outie play, and also like needle stuff, and actually the candle walks has come up before. We didn't do it together. We replaced it with vanilla sauce.
Oh, you replaced it with what?
Hot vanilla sauce.
That's
that
awesome.
was fun and delicious.
So tell me, like, how extreme does it get for you? Like, you say you incorporate needles and you do outie play. Like, are you piercing your outie, or like how extreme does it get?
It doesn't get that extreme. In my fantasies it can, but I really don't like getting wounds and needing time to heal up and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it excites me until I'm in that zone. Uh,
Oh,
of,
until it's like right in front of you.
yeah.
I'm sort of the
And
same way. Like, outie piercings are a very big turn on. There's something about like pulling a belly button out, piercing it, letting the belly button go back in, and the ring is sort of like sitting in the belly button, and then you could just like pull on the ring and it pulls it out. Like, there's something visually that's like a massive that's like a massive turn on for me. But I would never do that to myself. You know, I don't know how I would react if like, let's say I was tied down and somebody had my belly button like between their fingers and they had a needle like in their hand. Like, I'd probably be freaking out.
Yeah, maybe I would too. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would try it.
So before I forget, before you started incorporating belly button play into your relationships, like how did it evolve for you? Like, by the time you got your first boyfriend, what was your usual like menu of like belly button play? Like, what, because you said your first boyfriend was around 17 and you started getting into the more like painful stuff like when you're in your mid-teens. So but right before you got your first boyfriend, what was your usual like week like? Like, would you play with your belly button like every day, every week? And like, what would you do?
No, it wasn't very often, honestly. Like, sometimes I would get excited about it and do weird stuff for a week, and after that I wouldn't do anything for months. So it's more like this for me. So sometimes I really like playing with my belly button, and after that I just don't do anything.
No, honestly, I know exactly what you mean, because I would be the same way. Like, those moments I described earlier where it would just hit me all of a sudden and I'd have to play with my belly button like in a really intense way. Those I would do that like once every, I don't know, once a month, once every 2 months. It wasn't that often at all.
Yeah, for me actually, I think like in my mid-teens I would experiment a lot. So I tried a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And after that I didn't really do anything. So I experimented with everything that could come to my mind. And after that I sometimes I tied my belly button out. But that was it. I don't think I did anything else.
So, when you say you tried everything, like what are you talking about? Like, what's the silliest thing that you can remember experimenting with when you were younger?
Like the silliest, I think it would be like, you can get these washable, like the tattoos that you can get off with
With like soap and
time.
water?
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I would stick one on my belly button. I think that was like the silliest that I can think of.
Do you remember what it was a tattoo of?
Actually, it was like parts of paintings of Toulouse-Lautrec,
Oh, wow.
like the French painter.
Sophisticated for stick-on tattoos.
Yeah, like that. That's classic.
That's cool.
Yeah, very classy.
America's kind of trash. We don't have anything like that here.
Yeah, we're doing like tramp stamps and
Yeah.
stuff, and she has like fine art.
Yeah. That's really cool. I have this like Van Gogh on my arm. It's no big deal. It's
Yeah.
fine.
When did you start experimenting with like public play?
With one of my boyfriends, he was like kind of into this. So he was pretty excited about me having a fetish, and he didn't have it, but he would experiment with anything.
Yeah.
He could get turned on by anything, basically.
A try anything once kind of person.
I think he would have tried anything out twice or 3 times. He was very open to anything. And I remember that once we went to a bath, and he just started playing with my belly button, and he loved the idea that people don't know that this is my turn on. And he does this to me in a public place. So I think it was more exciting for him.
I've said something
in
similar
a way.
before.
So
yeah.
it was.
Sorry.
Mm,
I was just saying, I feel similarly. Like, it's like part of the reason why it's exciting to do it like outdoors in front of people is because not everybody's aware that it like feels good, and people don't really get it. They don't understand why you're doing it, but like,
Yeah, they might think that it's innocent, but
but it's not. It's really cool.
exactly.
So was that as far as it goes in terms of public play?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
So it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. So you sent us a really interesting podcast episode to listen to. And we didn't listen to the whole thing, but we got I think we got like 20 minutes into it. And it was very fascinating to me, but it left me with with some questions,
Do you want to say the name of the podcast so people can listen to it if they're interested?
Give me 1 second. Okay, so the podcast is Sex and Psychology Podcast with Dr. Justin Lehmiller, and the episode is Where Do Sexual Fetishes Come From? It is episode number 56, and it's with a guest named Dr. Jim Faust, and they talk about some very interesting experiments with rats and conditioning them to be sexually aroused by an object or a smell. And I don't know. The fact that they're even doing these tests in the first place are blowing my mind.
I've never heard of anything like that before.
I know. But, they go into a little bit of detail about an experiment with jackets, and it was all different types of combinations of rats wearing jackets and being sexually stimulated, rats without wearing jackets and being sexually stimulated. I can't really dive into the experiment because it was super detailed. But then they even experimented with, does the smell of death, can that be used as like a sexual trigger? Or is it like so extreme that it's still just as repulsive as it is before? Because they go into, how rats bury their dead and how they did this experiment where they put the smell of death on like the female rats, and sorry. They put the smell of death on a stick, and they sexually aroused certain rats while at the same time allowing them to smell this scent. The rats who did not go through that process, when they were put in the cage with the stick that smelled like death, they would bury it immediately. But then the rats who were sexually aroused and stimulated while smelling that, they came to love that smell and like gnaw on the stick. That's very fascinating to me. And I'm trying to figure out how, and sorry I'm rambling, but I'm trying to figure out how I was either stimulated or quote unquote like rewarded when I would experience belly buttons when I was younger. Now you talked about something, Emma, about how it became sort of a forbidden thing, like with that memory of like, I believe you said it was your aunt coming in saying like, no, don't do that. It's going to get infected. Like, I know what you mean about it becoming kind of like a naughty thing, and it's kind of like exciting to do this thing anyway. But I wonder if beyond that, it was there was some other hardwiring going on that made it sexually arousing versus just, oh, I'm doing this thing that I'm not supposed to do.
I really cannot remember. Like, you know that it's these are really some of my earliest memories.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the other thing that I can think about is that other game with my other cousin, which wasn't exactly like belly button play. It was more like a belly related stuff because it was so he wanted to play that he cuts my tummy open,
Mm-hmm.
but that there I think I couldn't have got any reward, but still it felt kind of like dangerous, like imagining that I have like a very serious illness
Mm-hmm.
for what my tummy has to be cut open. So yeah, I think it's kind of it maybe has to do with this sense of fear,
Okay.
or the sense of being doing something forbidden, but I don't remember the rewards part either.
Yeah.
So what did you end up taking away from the podcast episode?
that that fetishes can be induced by conditioning, and I cannot exactly know, or cannot completely uh, tell why I have this fetish based on the podcast episode, because really I don't I don't remember the rewarding part. Maybe it was that I was playing with my cousin and she was rubbing this flower on my belly button. Maybe it felt amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you feel like all fetish, like, do you, like, from listening to that episode of the podcast, do you believe that, like, fetishes are always, like, learned through conditioning and we just, like, we can't remember these specific instances, but they are happening when we're very little? Or do you think that, like, some are learned through that way, but then others are, you're just, like, born with it? Do you believe that it can go both ways, or it's one or the other?
I cannot exclude it being caused by something else, but I'm sure that in a lot of cases it's caused by some conditioning like thing.
It's so interesting because it just makes you think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but there's only so far, like, deep down that you can go.
Because I feel like
It's like it's a huge
it's
mystery.
a common question for. Excuse me. I feel like it's a common question for people with a fetish to kind of question themselves and be like, why am I this way? Like, why do I require this thing to be sexually aroused or to finish or whatever, and those questions do stem from maybe more shameful leaning feelings, and I know it was for me, where, I would be interested in a girl, but I just got a strong inkling that she would not be into this fetish. And I would then question, or I would then realize, damn, my fetish is the thing standing in the way of starting a relationship with this person. And it would, and then I would just put myself down. It would be hard to come to terms with, I am this way, and it's my fetish that's standing in the way of this relationship. And it starts to make you question, why am I this way?
Yeah.
Why is this weird thing that I'm into the thing that's standing in the way of a future with someone? But yeah, I mean,
And it's something you can't just, like, get rid of. Like, it's a part of you. You can't choose to not be into it anymore. It's just there.
Yeah, and I tried suppressing it for a long time, and it's anxiety inducing. It makes you depressive. It's it's a rough life when you're just not living the way you want to live, and Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. I mean, I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir here of everybody listening. I mean, they probably know how this feels. So, yeah.
How similar are our brains to rat brains, though? Like, can we really compare ourselves to rats in that way? Like, I know...
Emma, do you have an answer on this?
Yeah.
I would guess that we can. So if they could really induce fetishistic behaviors in rats, I would say it's likely the same thing. Yeah, I cannot be 100% sure, but still.
So I think right there, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we will bring in your fiance and have a little group conversation.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay, let's just get right into it. So, does your fiance have an alias he wants to go by other than the fiance?
Yeah, I would go with Bobdogg actually.
Bob what?
Bobdogg, D-O-G.
Bobdogg?
Instead of
I'm not going to be able to say it with a straight face.
It's a bobcat. It's a Bobdogg.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's going to be the most hilarious
Emma and
episode titled
Bobdogg.
Emma and Bobdogg.
You sound like
But
a music producer.
For friends, Bob also applicable. So
Okay. That's great. I want to change my name.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first I have to ask, when Emma brought up, hey, I'm gonna talk to these guys on a belly button fetish podcast, will you talk to them with me?
How freaked out were you?
Yeah, what did you think?
that's a good question. Actually, I really wanted to support her in this. I also was like a bit wanted to secure her in its own, not because you seem like bad guys, but because it's something that is not really easy to talk about.
Yeah.
And like I said to her that okay, like whatever you want, if you want me to be there, I can be there. If you want me to speak about myself or like answering your questions, then yeah, for sure, I would be there. But if you want to do it alone, then it is also really okay for me. So I was like really try to like support her in its way, like what is the best for her in its way.
That's sweet. Honestly, like, not very many people. I mean, who am I to say? I haven't dated every woman in the world, but like, I can't imagine that there are a lot of people out there that are that supportive. So like, that's honestly really
that's
great.
really great.
Yeah,
Now-
actually, I think we are very lucky. Like you too.
Yeah, no, honestly, like, I feel like I have told Zoe way more than any other person. Like, I don't think there's another I don't think I have any other past like person that I was in a relationship with that I told that I filmed fetish content with an ex-girlfriend of mine, you know, like 10 years ago. Like, there's no one that knew that about me. Even my girlfriend who I was with for 6 years had no idea that I did that. And
it makes me feel really nice that you told me.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes into it kind of speaks to what having a friendship first can do to a relationship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys friends before you officially got together?
Actually, we didn't really know each other.
Don't tell me you like didn't know each other and then you like got engaged like a couple days after you met.
And it's like a beautiful relationship.
No, of course not. But
This is how miracle happens, you know.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Actually, we got together by a common friend, And actually, yeah, like we have seen each other like few times.
Few times. Yeah.
And before I moved to Germany, we just got together for some household works like painting and so on. And yeah, then I just decided to maybe get to know more about this girl because she looks really, really valuable. And it turned out that she is the best. So yeah, this is the long story short. The
Yeah.
short story short.
Aw.
All right.
Yeah.
So, how far into your relationship did she finally bring up this fetish, and what was your reaction to it initially?
Like,
hearing
hear her
hearing her
laughing.
giggle is so funny.
I think it was our second date or third, maybe.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
no, it was like that. You came over for sleeping over, and you realized that I want something from you in a sexual manner, and you said that you know, if like you are playing with my belly button, then I will be turned on. Like this is the key for that. And yeah, it was like I couldn't do anything with this information because I didn't hear about that that much that I would know what to do and so on. Like I listened to it like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, playing with your belly button means like maybe putting my finger in and like this kind of stuff. But later on, we tried out more and we realized, or like I realized that how it works exactly.
That was kind of like
You
my
were not so shy, actually.
yeah.
No, I really wanted to avoid in all my relationships after my first boyfriend that it is something that they don't know for a
Taboo.
long time.
Mm-hmm. So this was this like your first attempt at putting it out there? Whatever happens, happens. If he likes it, cool. If he doesn't, fine. Like, I'm just gonna tell this person, and if they like it, then they're my person, and if not, then I'll move on to the next person. Was it sort of like that for you?
Yeah, kind of. It wasn't. Yeah, I just really wanted to put it out there as soon as I can because because I knew that I come together that my belly button fetish comes within the package that I'm bringing with myself, and I didn't want to be secretive about this anymore.
I love
And
that. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
yeah, but you know, like when you just starting to date someone, then you're not too emotionally like attached.
I know exactly what you're saying because when I was sort of in the dating scene, like I started to lead with that a little bit more. Like I would reveal that part about myself like really early on because yeah, it just got to a point where I just want to weed out the people who aren't going to accept me for who I am faster. Like I just want to get them out of the way so I can like find the person that's for me.
Yeah.
So
Strategy.
Overall, Bobdogg, what was your reaction when you heard it for the first time? Like, I mean, you sounded pretty game for it, and like you sounded pretty supportive about it, but there was no reservations, there was no reluctancy. It was just like, all right, let's try this, like right from the get go.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen a lot of stuff in my life before, but nothing like that. And you know, I have to say, I was like, yeah, a little bit lost. Like how I just said that I could not really imagine how it works. And actually, this was like rather remember the first time when I really started to play with it and enjoy it, and you know, because these moments were like really the initiation of our playings in the bedroom. So like yeah, for sure in the beginning, like I didn't feel anything like I don't know, like shameful or anything, or like is it
Disgust.
weird or disgust or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I said to, like, yeah, now I remember what I felt like. I felt that I don't need to turn you on by your belly button. I can do it without that, and I wanted to prove it. And yeah, now it's clear. Now it's clear. And later on, I started to think a bit more about it. That okay, why she said that, and maybe it is really something that we should try out. And yeah, like I think this is how it evolved.
And when you played with her belly button for the first time and you saw how aroused she was getting, was this like mind blowing for you?
Yeah, like first I asked her to like to show me
Yeah.
what you usually do, right? And then I tried to play around and so on. And yeah, I don't know if it was in the first time when it blew my mind, but actually I'm really sensitive for sounds, so like erotic sounds, and
Yeah, same.
and I think it's kind of a feedback loop, so that I am doing it stronger, getting more excited about that, and
Yep.
Emma is getting more loud about that, and yeah, something like that.
And Emma, you don't orgasm just from belly button play, do you?
No, not it. No.
But it gets you
Unfortunately.
most of the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's the same for Zoe.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it
Yeah.
can't get her all the way, but it gets her very, very close.
Yeah.
So just for me also to understand, I didn't listen to your podcast, but how is it like? So you are playing with, or you get to play on, or like how is it? Sorry, but you don't have to answer me, but I just don't know the context now.
No, we understand, like, because for your guys' relationship, Emma was the one with the fetish and you were not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to kind of describe our dynamic.
So our dynamic, I don't know. When you speak Bobdogg, I Mr. Dog, I find myself like connecting
Not
with a lot of
funny,
the things you
my
say and like your initial experiences. So to break it down the most concisely way that I can, OutieByte, he told me very early on that he had a belly button fetish. I've never heard of it before ever. I thought it was like a stomach fetish, like he liked stomachs, and I was just like, okay. And he would kind of like show me what he did, what he likes, and I was just, when I started playing with his, I was confused. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if what I was doing felt good. I didn't know what he liked, and I felt like I was a virgin and had never had sex before, and I felt like a 20-year I felt like a 28-year-old woman who's like never had sex before, who's having sex with somebody who's like very, like, he's been in it. I don't know how to describe it, but it felt very foreign to me, and I feel like I had to learn. And then we started playing with each other's, like he would play with mine and like I would play with his. And when he started playing with mine, like I felt like I feel, when he like pokes down there, and then I like suction toys also, I feel something in there. Like I have that feeling where it feels
like it's
very
hitting a nerve.
Yeah, where it's hitting a nerve. It's like very pleasurable. And so I was like, yeah. And then our dynamic, like I like playing with his, I like when he plays with mine, and like vice versa.
Yeah, it's very mutual at this point.
Yeah. Like I get the same amount of arousal from like playing with his as I do mine. Because I know it's making him feel good. And it's fun. Like I really enjoy it.
I see.
Yeah.
So
that's us.
I guess
Yeah.
if you guys can talk about it, like how did it affect your relationship from the point you revealed it to him and then started incorporating play into your sex life?
No, like in our relationship, when I told him that I have a belly button fetish, it was equivalent basically to, yeah, can yeah, we can have sex. So it was like kind of me giving consent.
Got it.
So yeah, that was the change in our relationship, I think.
Okay. And Bobdogg, do you like your belly button being played with, or is that kind of like a off limits thing for you and you just play with her?
Ooh, to be honest, in this case, we are quite opposite. So when I have to wash it under the shower, I feel pain
Oh no.
in my stomach, and like it is weird, and I don't like it. So we never tried. So
Okay.
so it's yeah, but yeah, I have other things to get turned on, so it's
Yeah.
not a problem.
So
But yeah.
now for Emma, like,
Mhm.
was not being able to play with his belly button an issue for you?
No,
Because
not at all.
you only get off on having yours played with, and that's it.
I think it could excite me to play with someone else's belly button, but it's I haven't really done it. I have done it once and like very lightly, and I think the thing that excited me more or most in that situation was the fact that he kind of liked it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't Bobdogg, it was an
Ooh, spicy.
I'm never not gonna laugh at that. That is the funniest name.
Yeah, we brought comedy in. You can add it to your labels of the podcast.
Okay,
So yeah, I think there in that situation, the most exciting part of the experience was that he liked it, and maybe not the belly button play itself. I don't know why it's so auto-focused for me, but yeah, this is what
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Also, when I'm watching videos, all I think is, what if this thing was happening to me?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really.
Do you feel like when you're watching videos, it's very easy, like through your imagination, to kind of like insert yourself into the scenario you're watching?
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah,
me, that's
completely.
difficult. For me, it's difficult to
Really?
like. Yeah, I mean,
I can't
don't
do it either.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a video and like, I don't know. I feel a little more like a voyeur, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I'm watching people and they don't know that I'm watching them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's more of that than, oh, this is a great situation. Like let me kind of like insert myself into it. I don't think it's ever been like that for me.
Yeah. Even when I
Wow.
tried the VR porn, I couldn't imagine myself as
Right?
that person.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother thing. If
Ugh.
any of y'all have VR and you haven't tried VR porn, like
It's weird.
it's
No.
It's so crazy.
I heard only good things about that. I'm actually also watching porn with inserting myself in the role. So like this is why it's interesting that like you two are not about it that much.
I'm just changing in general. I'm becoming less visual almost. Like I don't even need to watch porn anymore to get
really
off.
like for me, I have to see. I mean, well, I guess that's more so like our play. Like I don't know, like my mind kind of went there because I remember like when we tried like blindfolding me
Yeah.
and then you played with me, it like was not the same.
Yeah.
I needed to like see what was happening. You know, I'm a very visual person. But yeah, you're kind of in the same boat with me where you can't like insert yourself into the.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No. This is something that just kind of popped in my head. So you're from Central Europe, correct?
Mhm.
If you could just go into a little bit more about like how fetishes are viewed like within society, and can you kind of go into a little bit of detail about that and kind of let us know what that's like?
I think it's like generation, right? Like it depends on the generation.
Could be. Yeah, that's
Because
true.
like younger generation are more open-minded and accepting,
Yep.
but for sure you will not start with it with the conversation at your grandma's table in the Christmas party. So
Wait, you guys don't talk to your grandma about your fetishes?
That's
not
weird.
Oh, that's really strange.
It's the only thing we talk about.
No, honestly, like on a cultural take, I don't think it is very different from the US.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell, to be honest. Like
Yeah, I have no idea,
Sure.
honestly. But I don't think like a belly button fetish is more like openly talked about here than there.
Yeah, I think America is better in this kind of diversity and accepting each other. Like, for sure, not in 100% of the cases, but how I would imagine.
Yeah. And also, this mutual friend that you two have, they probably have no idea what's going on between you two, right?
Like they know that we are going out.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they know that you're going
Yeah.
out, but
they don't know about like your belly button stuff.
No.
No, nothing.
It's that always intrigues me because mutual friends set me up with my last girlfriend of like 6 years, and they have no idea. And I always wondered what they would think if they found out. Like, would they feel bad that they set this girl up with this guy who has a fetish and they had no idea? Or
Do you think you would ever tell them?
Would I ever tell them? There were times where we were drunk at a party and we would look up porn and we would just like laugh at it. And then I got really, really close to talking about belly buttons with them. Like, and I wasn't necessarily going to start it off with like, hey guys, I have a belly button fetish. It was going to be more like, oh, did you guys know that there's like belly button porn? Like try to find an in that way. But no, I've never been that open with those friends, but I have told some friends. I have maybe four friends that know about my fetish, but that's about it.
I haven't told anyone apart from my boyfriends.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I never thought that I would tell friends. I think all of those friends that I'm talking about, they have found out within the last like 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, I see.
So it's a relatively new experience, me telling people who I'm not in a relationship with. But also like, kind of like how I brought up like VR before, like that was actually a really cool. Oh, I actually have an experience that I've never talked about before, which was, so I use VR sometimes and I have friends in VR. So they don't know what I really look like. We would meet up every once in a while and play games. We would go to these worlds that we could explore together. And it's more like it's not a traditional game where it's like there's an objective. Yeah, it's more like a universe to like hang out in, a space to hang out in. So there was this one world that we went to where it was a giant board game filled with sexual questions. So you roll a dice and your little piece moves on the board, and whatever spot it lands on, you have to answer that question. And I played the game a few times with my different groups of VR friends, and once it landed on, do you have any fetishes? And everybody turned and looked at me and they're waiting for me to answer. And I was like, I don't know these people. They don't know me. They don't know
brave enough?
my. Sorry?
Were you brave enough?
Yeah, I ended up telling them, but it was so relieving to like say it out loud, and not be judged for it. And then everybody started talking about their weird fetishes. Everybody started like chiming in on their own personal shit. And I don't know, it was a very like relaxed moment, but I will say that like I love VR, and one of my favorite aspects of it is this kind of like this removed like sense of pressure. It's just gone. It's eliminated. But yeah, it was a big relief to kind of like say that out loud and get a positive reaction back to a group of people. It was like 10 people, So yeah.
Does any of your friends know about the podcast?
No, not a single person,
And it's so
and they
hard.
will never know. This is the anonymity I have from doing this podcast is the thing that allows me to be so open about my life and my experiences. It is this is the equivalent, like my friend finding out about this podcast is like the equivalent of like a close family member or friend like finding your journal with your most personal, most intimate things. You know,
Yeah.
it's so I don't know. I feel like within my circle of friends, I probably have a very distinct voice, and it would probably be very easy to tell who I am. But I'm just like fingers crossed that they don't discover this, because this is very personal, and I like the fact that we are able to do this, but I think we're only able to do this because we have this level of privacy, you know.
I get
But on the other
nervous.
hand, like I was also thinking about it, like turning it out, and like somehow somebody just find it, and so on. Like how would they find it, right? Like if they would search on it, right?
Yeah,
And
that's what I think about. It's like, what are the chances of them finding it on their own?
Yeah.
and but if they do, then they really understand you, because they were looking for this topic, right? So they maybe have
I'd
the
hope
same.
so.
That's
I'd hope
true.
so. I hope it's not like, oh man, I found these weird ass belly button videos on YouTube. Let me go down this weird like YouTube rabbit hole and see what else there is. Ew, I just found a belly button podcast. Let me listen to it. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know, like I would hate for it to be like that. I would rather it be like like the picture you just painted, where they're also curious about it.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure that nobody will find it as oh my god, it's so weird. Like listen to this.
I hope so. There's an episode. I mean, Emma can tell you, like she said she listened to everything in a day. There's an episode where I talk about like every belly button experience that I can remember. For like, I talked about it for like 45 minutes to an
Yeah.
hour. Like I went through everything, and it's like, God, I mean, anybody I know can go onto YouTube, type in belly button podcast, and like find out all this shit about me. It's kind of scary. But I don't know. I'm trying to also live my life now in a way where I am more accepting of myself, and I just need to like I just need to learn to not give a shit. You know, if a friend finds out, it's like, so fucking what? You know, it's
Yeah.
I just need
And they
to
probably won't even care like too much, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like my groups of friends, like the web is very thick. Like I feel like the word can spread very quickly, and I would hate to be known within this big group that I am the way that I am, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but at the same time, you guys talk about the fetish really like in a very accepting way.
And it's really helps other eyes, like other people, like
Yeah, it also
you.
helped me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah, it's like we're trying to speak about this in like a very casual way, you know, because most people in the community, this is like a sexual thing only. Like, I mean, obviously it's like a sexual thing to us, but it's never discussed in this way. It's never just a casual conversation with another person, you know. So that's at least what we're trying to do here.
yeah.
That's actually really interesting. That if you wouldn't reach us with the aim to have a podcast on it, then how would we talk about it? Like, I think it has really a different a voice of talking about it, as we know that it is under a podcast, under your brand, basically.
Yeah.
And like it really helps, because I think with this we can release a bit of the stress
And the stigma around it.
and it's also like wonderful that you two are really helping people accepting themselves, and in this way you also accepting yourself, and like it's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, get a little tear in my eye.
I know, it makes me feel good. And then it makes me like, I feel really good knowing that, like doing the podcast makes people feel that way, and it makes us feel better too. And that's why it sucks that I can't tell people, because I'm very proud of this. And I just I wish I could just tell people, but I can't,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but actually, I think that your own approach, when you talk about it to other people, kind of predicts how they will react. Because if you talk to them in a way like, yeah, I have a fetish. Yeah, a lot of people have fetishes. Even rats can have fetishes. It is like the most normal thing ever. It's just, of course, it's not the most normal thing to have a belly button fetish because it's not the most common thing, but still it happens, and it's not you're not the only person having it. And
Yeah.
a lot of people a lot of people like boobs or your necks or something like that, or feet, and some of them are liking boobs is not even thought of as a fetish, but I think it must have been something very similar, actually.
Yeah, no, I think that it is. It's just we never labeled it that way, so people don't think of it that way. But I feel like that's exactly what it is. And we interviewed Babe Fortuna. I don't know if you're familiar with her account.
Yeah.
We just interviewed her in our last episode that we're releasing soon, and she said something in a really interesting way. She's like, look, the belly button is like a known erogenous zone, and it just happens to be mine, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, actually, there's a show here in the US called The Doctors, and they have a couple of different belly button segments that they've done in the past. But I remember specifically, they did this one episode where they talked about just cleaning your belly button. So they literally gave the audience at least the front row Q-tips to literally clean their belly button on TV. And I remember, I think it was in that clip, but one of the female doctors, one of their hosts, she was at the very end of the clip, she's like, and the belly button is a known erogenous zone. She just had to throw that in there. And we don't hear about this fetish a lot in society, but I'm starting to realize more and more that this is totally normal. There's got to be a ton of people out there who find belly buttons to be a turn on, or at least it feels good when theirs are touched, and they just haven't taken the time to look into that more or experiment with that more. There's probably plenty of people out there who have never looked up belly button fetishes online, and they liked having theirs touched,
Yeah, but also this is how sexuality works. So people are turned on by a huge diversity of things. People can be turned on by anything, I think.
Yeah.
Literally. So if you understand that, I think it removes a lot of the weirdness. So yeah, this is my thing, and other people have other turn-ons. Yeah, actually, I didn't talk about my second boyfriend, but you guys were wondering how I could open up about my fetish on a second time point, because with
after this bad experience.
After this bad experience with my first boyfriend. And actually, it was that my second boyfriend had some fetish, and it wasn't belly button fetish, but he completely understood what having a fetish is like.
And what was his?
Yeah, actually, it was boobs, so it was the most normal thing. He was pretty clear about it, that it's his main turn on, and that's it. And actually, he approached me with this fetishistic mindset. So he was like, yeah, everyone has their own turn-ons. What's yours? and I didn't want to tell him. I was like, that's super weird. I won't tell him. But at one occasion, he just randomly started playing with my belly button. Like, I don't even know why, but he was like just playing with it. And I said to him, you know that now I'm super turned on? Like, you have accidentally found my fetish. So that was a very, very good experience, honestly. And also this was when I kind of realized that, yeah, we both have a fetish and it's not very different.
Yeah,
Like, the
exactly.
feeling is the same.
And so you're 24 years old, right?
Did I tell that in the
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you wrote that in your story, right?
But if you don't want us to disclose, we don't have to.
No, I think we read it.
Yeah, it was included. It was like the first
It was the
sentence in
first
your
line.
story.
It's like, I'm a 24-year-old
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I revealed too much.
She's like, oh shit, I just revealed something that I wanted to hide forever.
Oh.
But next year you will not be 24. So.
Oh, that's true. I'm safe now.
So Emma, you opened up to him about your fantasies. What was that point like? Because that was like a major experience for the two of you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like we're talking about you.
Yeah, but like I think this like this part was really good that you told it these guys, because this is why you then finally revealed those things that you kept it as a secret for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like if you are talking about this, but I'm not sure what was the question.
I want to know specifically, what did you reveal in that conversation that you were scared to reveal before?
Yeah, like more specific fantasies, because before that I revealed that I have a belly button fetish, and he was kind of like trying to find out how to please me. But I didn't really give a lot of guidelines or a lot of ideas, honestly.
Yeah, I felt myself really skillful until you revealed the really hard guidelines. But I think last week or when did we try it? What you were talking about?
No, actually, like also when we talked about it, you try to kind of like turn my belly button out.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, that was totally new for me, actually. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was the thing. That was the thing that you'd never revealed before. That was the part of your fantasy that you were scared to talk about.
Yeah, that was one part. Also, we talked a little bit about needle play. I don't know what else, like suction, but we haven't tried it yet together because we don't have tools.
No. Yeah, we have a pretty big belly button toy box here at the house.
I like hit my foot on it last night when I went into your room because
you?
It's under the bed. I like slammed my foot on it. I was like, oh.
So Bobdogg, how did you take the Anita Outie play?
Like with the needle?
No, with pulling. Yeah, with pulling it out.
No, actually, I think I have a bit thicker fingers, and it was not easy for first occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked for help, and then it was really interesting because you also tied it with the hair band. Yeah.
Ooh,
and it stayed like this, like the outie out, and then like it was totally a new thing for me, because then I just touched with my like the tip of my tongue, and like I tried to be really soft and like I didn't know, because what I know from experience is that this part is really sensitive.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go into like like in a harsh.
I know. I was about to say, she's probably like, why the fuck isn't he biting me yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, but also it was a new experience for me. Honestly,
That's so
I
exciting.
Oh, because
haven't
this is the first time a boyfriend would have like licked and like played with your belly button as an outie.
exactly. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then we also sterilized the needle, and we
Yeah.
tried that. So actually, yeah, I mean, it turned out really really great. So it's like somehow I feel that it's kind of a new word almost every day.
Mhm.
And somehow I feel it as a power of our relationship in a way as well, that it's somehow, because it's new for me as well, and like for you for sure, that we are playing it together. It spices up our relationship from time to time,
Yeah.
and it's like, you not just lying next to each other and waiting until one or the other start to sleep and so on, but really have something that for example, like yeah, maybe I should not reveal so much that what I could do from my workplace, but this is for the secret of tonight, so stay
Sure.
tuned.
So no, I get what you mean. Like it's been for us,
Yeah.
it's been a good lead in into sex. Like, we'll be like watching a movie, and then at the end of the movie, she'll just like, we're laying next to each other. She'll just pull my shirt up and start like fingering it or even like licking it. And, 15, 20 minutes later, like we're, getting into
Doing
it.
stuff.
Yeah, I think I have now an issue with it. So it turns me on so much that I'm playing and I'm getting like it's kind of a role of a foreplay, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but it really almost ends there, because like I nowadays at least somehow I cannot get rid of, like, it's better when it's dark and I don't see the belly button, but when I see it and I can touch it during sex, like, oh my god, I just can't hold it so much. So yeah.
So this like this belly button play that you were talking about a minute ago, where she tied it out with a hair tie and then you tried needle play, was that something that you guys did like by itself, or is that something that you guys have also started incorporating like during sex?
No, actually, we have done it like we've done outie play once and we've done needle play once.
Okay.
So these were two separate occasions actually, and they were both most like part of the foreplay. And actually, like the needle play lasted a little bit longer, and I kind of realized that I prefer it to stay
Just for
foreplay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's been cool like talking to you guys about this. Like,
Yeah.
I thank you guys for being like so open and like willing to talk to us about this. This has been really cool.
And you guys are so cute together.
I know, it's
I
funny
love it.
hearing Emma
Yeah,
like
it's
giggle in the
really
background.
Yeah.
I think really it's very nice to hear like another very strong and like cool relationship. Because actually we are all the time like, yeah, how can we be this good?
That's so sweet.
Yeah,
Like,
we are really humble in a way, but just cannot imagine how.
but I think we're gonna leave it there, guys. Thank you guys for your time, and I hope everybody at home listening found enjoyment through this conversation. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
See ya.